I'm Sara, the Director of Missional Engagement, and I have Drew Nonnemacher here with me. You guys have heard about our solar light build. You've been part of our solar light build, and we wanted to come today to give you the latest update about where they are and what good they're doing. But I also want us to be aware, like we keep talking about these solar lights and the trip that they're on and how hard it is to get them from here to there. But I think it's just like one example of what life in a war-torn area looks like. And it's why we keep bringing you updates about one specific thing so you can understand probably in more general as a whole what it looks like when we're working in hard places. So I have Drew here. Drew's dad was the one who coordinated. So I'm going to have Drew just kind of tell us what was it that we did.
My dad is Dave. Spent a lot of time in Northwest Iowa in Orange City, Northwestern College. And he had an idea along with a few of his friends that he works with. And this idea was to provide solar lights and cell phone charging stations and water filtration systems to specifically at this moment, people in Ukraine after the invasion. And this solar light project has been something that's been used in the past. It's called Ray of Life. It's been used for other parts of the world as well. It was not just developed solely for Ukraine in this time, but it seemed like a very smart thing and useful thing to do for people that weren't able to turn lights on. And that's a very real thing to say, is that they could not just go, we're flooded with lights here. And these folks in Ukraine, these families, these children, these grandparents in Ukraine can't just walk into a room and turn on a light switch. And so it became a really, really big issue for these families that were still living in the country, that were not able to flee, that wanted to stay in the country. And there had to be a way to still get children an education or be able to call loved ones, in the morning when they wake up. And this project served all those things with just one small box. And so we're excited to talk about what those boxes were. Some of you saw them firsthand. Some of you had your literal hands on them. But those boxes serve a great purpose. And what we did here at First Reformed and what many churches around the country with my dad's help have done is provided that hope and that light for the people of Ukraine in recent months.
Yeah. So in the end of June, we actually physically built them here, and the congregation got involved in building those. At that time, your dad was heading to Ukraine like 2 weeks later, but he got there and he kind of hit a roadblock, and our last milestone kind of touched on that they hit a roadblock. There were some customs issues that we needed to take care of for them to be able to cross the border. But he was still able to go and be in the places where the lights were going to go, and was able to provide some food. And can you tell us a little bit about maybe the nature of what was happening in those areas that he was traveling to?
Yeah. First of all, just what a rock star congregation we have. The fact that so many bodies, so many people came out that evening in late June and put together these kits. We had kids there ages 10 and below, and we had senior citizens there ages 75 and above. And everybody was able to do it. We had Ukrainian refugees on hand building these boxes. We wrote messages in them in English and in Ukrainian. And like Sara said, the lights got there. There's no direct flight to Ukraine for my dad during this time period. So he flies to Bucharest, Romania. He goes through Moldova. And this is where the hang-up happened, is these lights got stuck in Moldova, and customs would not release them to Ukraine. It was not necessarily said why. And that's a holdup that we'll talk about possibly later. But yes, my dad was able to go across the border still. He saw these places, again, with the help of the monetary donations that our church provided. He was able to deliver needed goods to the doorsteps of Ukrainians. And it just, the images, and he'll send out updates every once in a while. And the images of he and others that were there to help wearing bulletproof jackets and helmets, Kevlar helmets, and exactly the images that you would expect to see in a war situation, but never really real until you see the images, especially your own dad wearing them. And that was really real to be able to see that picture of him dropping a bag off at a door. Nobody's in sight. In the way he explains it, there are no people, there are no dogs, there are no noises, there are no vehicles. You just drop and go. And that's astonishing to me, that there are places today, yesterday, and in the weeks to come all over, that have situations like that where you need to do it undercover, and you need to be wearing all this gear and this safety equipment just in case. And it's a huge just in case, that they had to sign up, that they got to sign up to do. My dad would say that he got to sign up to do this. And yeah, it was really cool to see that, yes, these are the places that our lights are going. They're going to get there. We have faith that they're going to get there. They weren't there yet. Now they are. And this has become something that we've impacted the people of Ukraine in a very positive way.
Yeah. I think about, our own families that are right here. And when they talk about how the church has become the church without walls, it now is the church because you have to be. All of the theory that you've learned about meeting the needs of the oppressed, about what does it mean to be saved by Jesus, that the church right there in that location is actually becoming that because they have no other option. They don't just meet for Bible studies and the word doesn't come alive, but it comes alive as they're meeting and starting to understand even these boxes of light. Like, what does it mean to have light, to be the light, and how that changes so much of what you do during your day.
Yeah, I love that. Be the light, and we're using literal lights to be the light. The stories that come out of Ukraine are the fact that, these, like I said earlier, these families they have to get a hold of family members, whether they're across the country or across the city. And the only way you can get a hold of them is a cell phone. And the only way you can use a cell phone is if it's charged. And the only way you can read your kids' books at night is if you have a light to turn on. And these boxes they provided, when they're fully charged, when you put that solar panel out and charge it up, it's a full day's worth of light, or it's a full night's worth of light, whatever you want to use it for. I should say whatever they want to use it for. Either way, it provides that light, that physical light. And Christ has no borders. And this is a really cool project because we are not sending lights over to specifically hand to Ukrainian Christians. We are designing and building these lights to hand to whoever needs them, rich or poor, Christian or non-Christian. We are spreading the gospel. We are spreading the church and the love of Christ to literally anybody we can get these boxes to. And yeah, there are many churches around the country that are doing these same builds. There are so many lights going over to Ukraine. And we were a huge part of that. As we prayed before this kicked off, we specifically prayed and thanked God that, we could physically bring the church outside of these walls and be the hands and feet of Jesus. And we were able to do that. And it's really cool.
Yeah, so I think one of the reasons why we want to continue to give you updates is because the war isn't ending. There's not an end in sight. And so the church, as a church, we continue to say, God, what do you want us to do And so we want to be accountable for what we have done. We want to be hopeful for what is to come. And I was just reading Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And I think of all the places, whether it's across the street or across the globe, where it feels like the need is kind of endless. But if God's word says, don't stop doing good, like the harvest is coming, keep working. I think that it is our mandate once we've accepted Christ to say, okay, here we are. Let's go. What do you have for us?
Let's not become weary.
Yeah. So we don't know exactly. We want to continue giving updates of anything that we're partnering with. I know your dad is talking about always doing more. Mm-hmm. And so we'll see where it goes. We don't have an answer for that right now, but we wanted to give you an update that they are being used, that they are charging phones, they are lighting up homes, and
officially they are there, and it's great jubilation from a lot of people that they are there, us included, and we're so grateful. Sarah and I are so grateful for the people that were physically there, the donations that came in for this project. It was such a overwhelmingly positive response to our ask, and it turned out so well. And there's a lot of people that are very grateful.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm sure there will be ways that we continue to partner in the coming months and years, and all of the continuing war that's happening, that we don't forget and we don't just become weary. So,
yes. Thank you very much, Sarah.
Thank you.